Hello everyone, my name is Heather and welcome to the channel Bookables. Today I'm here to do one of my favorite videos every single year, and that is talking about the books I'm really excited for that are coming out next year. So I do this every year. I do seasonal ones because, surprise, surprise, there's always books you forget or books that are not quite announced yet. So I do like to do a whole year one, and then I break it up to seasonal between spring, summer, and fall. Those are my main ones. And yeah, today I'm going to talk about all the books that I'm excited for in 2025. Surprise, surprise, there's a lot. There's a lot that I probably have not seen. I really, honestly, I try to do my research as best as I can, but there's always books that just kind of fall under the radar that I don't quite know about, but that's why I do the seasonal ones. You get it. But yeah, today I'm going to talk about the ones that I'm most interested in. Will I read all of these next year? Probably not, because that's how it goes. But these are ones that I'm really excited for. And there's a lot that I'm really excited for, but that's every year because books are amazing. So there are new books every year that I'm very excited about. I have my handy laptop, which I have written down all the synopsis. So some of them I will try to really go into, and then some I won't. So we're just going to roll with it. This will be a lengthy video, so go ahead and grab yourself a cup of tea, coffee, so whatever, water, whatever you drink, snack, you get it, get your pen, paper down to write books down, screenshot, whatever you want to do. So let's get into it because it's lengthy. Starting off with January, right on January 1st, we have Well Actually by Maisie Eddings. And I've never heard of this author before. I don't know if it's their first, I don't know if it's her first book, but the cover really intrigued me because it literally looks like the chicken shop date. Yes. And that's what this book is pretty much. It's about Eva, who never expected to be the host of Sausage Talk. Chicken shop date, chicken date, you know what it is with Amelia. Interviewing B-list celebrities over lukewarm hot dogs. And then she, when her impromptu public call out of her college ex goes viral, she's thrust in the spotlight. It doesn't help that said ex is Riley Cooper, a beloved social media personality that has built his platform on deconstructing toxic masculinity and teaching men how to be good partners. And so he she has to confront Riley on a live episode of Sausage Talk. He offers Eva a deal allowing him to take her on a series of dates to make up for his toxic behavior, then to brief them on his channel to show how he's changed. I mean, this literally sounds like Chicken Shop Date, and more particularly the viral one that went on with Amelia and Andrew Garfield, because they feel like they have a lot of chemistry. Like, this is pretty much the book about that. So in case you love that, little segment of a show, check out this book. Then we have a new Sarah Adams book. We have Beg, Borrow, or Steal. This is her third book in her Rome, Kentucky series, I believe. And I liked the first one, When in Rome. Love the second one, Practice Makes Perfect. So I'm very excited for this one. So this one we follow, it says 2 feuding second grade teachers and neighbors find themselves teaming up in this rivals to lovers romance. So we follow Emily, who is one of the sisters of the Walkers. It pretty much seems that every book takes place from the point of view of a Walker. First we had Noah Walker, then we had, I want to say her name is Amelia Walker. Now we have Emily, and I do believe there's another sister too, so I'm sure that'll be the third one, or I'm sure that'll be the fourth one. So it says that she, basically she has Emily Walker has an nemesis, Jack Bennett, they're neighbors, and he's back, and he's eager to renovate his house and work on his next mystery novel, and I think she accidentally sends an email to their school principal that could reveal her secret literary side hustle, because I think she reviews books or something. I don't know. I don't need to know much about it. All I can tell you, if you just want a pretty clean, small town, cutesy romance, this is a great series. I adore it, so I'm very excited for it. And then we have another book that I'm very excited for, and that is The Sea of Unspoken Things by Adrienne Young, coming out January 7th. I have read all of her adult books, really enjoy them. I love the spells for forgetting. Her second one, adult one, The Unmaken and Jew Pharaoh, I liked it and loved, but man, I'm excited for this one. No, a woman investigates her brother's mysterious death while coming to terms with her own haunting past in this atmospheric novel, and that is all I'm going to tell you about it, because I think with hers, the less you know, the better. And I will say her books are very beautifully written. The settings are amazing. They feel like their own character. It's going to be atmospheric. Like, when I think of atmospheric books, Adrienne Young is one of the first ones that comes to mind. And bad for not telling you the whole synopsis, but I linked it down below so you can check it out for yourself. January is hitting the ground running with some new releases I'm excited for. We have a new Grady Hendrix book, another author I really enjoy. And this is Witchcraft for Wayward Girls. He is a horror author that is satirical, I just love his book. Says this, they call them wayward girls, loose girls, girls who grow up too fast, and they're sent to Wellward Home in St. Augustine, Florida. Oh, wow. I think this might be his first book ever that does not take place in South Carolina. Where unwed mothers are hidden by families and to have their babies in secret, give them up for adoption, and most important of all, to forget any of it ever happened. So this takes place in 1970, where 15-year-old Fern arrives in the house in the summer. So she meets other girls that are there that are unwed mothers, and it says everything the girls eat, every moment of their waking day, and everything they're allowed to do to talk about is strictly controlled by adults who claim they know what's best for them. Then Fern meets a librarian who gives her an occult book about witchcraft and power in the hands of the girls for the first time in their lives. But power can destroy as easily as it creates, and it's never been given freely. There's always a price to be paid, and it's usually paid in blood. Then we have another author book I'm really excited for, and that is Beautiful Ugly by Alice Feeney. She's a mystery thriller author that's pretty popular. I enjoy her books. My favorite book of hers of all time for me is Daisy Darker, so I'm excited to see what this one is. It says that author Grady Green is having the worst, best day of his life. That sounds interesting. He calls his wife to share some exciting news as she's driving home, and he hears her slam on the brakes, get out of the car, and then nothing. When he eventually finds her car on the cliff edge, the headlights are on, the driver door is open, her phone is still there, but his wife has disappeared. A year later, he's still overcome with grief and desperate to know what happened. He can't sleep, he can't write, so he travels to a tiny Scottish island to try to get his life back on track. And then he sees the impossible, a woman who looks exactly like his missing wife. So it's interesting. We're going to have to see how it goes. Again, she is very atmospheric with writing. Her settings are usually great. This one sounds like it's going to be moody, perfect for a cold winter's day. Then we have a new book that sounds interesting to me, and it's called A Serial Killer's Guide to Marriage by Asia McKay, coming out January 14th. This one, the cover intrigued me, and then the little synopsis that I read is two former serial killers trying to keep their past buried realize that old habits die hard. So, yeah, it's kind of like that new trend, Butcher and Blackbird, which I still have not read. Also, It Had to Be You by Eliza Jane Brazier. No one talks about it. I loved it, but this one sounds like kind of like that. Also, My Lovely Wife by Samantha Downing. Kind of got two really messed up people trying to change their life, and then maybe our old habits are there forever. So there's that. Then on January 21st, we have the third book in the Fourth Wing series, Onyx Storm. Have I read the second book in this series? No, maybe I'll do it in January, but Fourth Wing took the world by storm a couple years ago. I loved it. It's a great dragons romance book. Does it have amazing writing? No. Is it addicting and the romance and the dragon aspect addicting? Yes, so I'm excited for it. I still need to read the second one. And the last book I have for January is Out of the Woods by Hannah Boehm Young. This is like one of two Taylor Swift lyric books. In this video, every time I read the titles, I'm like, are we out of the ones? You know what I'm saying? So this is kind of a companion novel to her book, Out on a Limb, which I really enjoyed. It's an indie romance that is just beautiful. So this one follows the main character's best friend. So it's about characters Caleb and Sarah, who have been high school sweethearts. They're married, and they have always been a sure thing. And says, the Sayers begin to wonder, who is she without her other half? And so basically something happens that, her husband saves her from something, like an event or something, and she's like, man, is this all I am? Is this my identity? Is this marriage? And so basically they go to this grueling hiking trip intended to guide couples through rough patches. What follows is a life-affirming comedy of errors as two nature-averse people fight their way out of the woods in order to find their way back to their roots. And I just think it sounds so amazing. She writes really organic love stories. And as someone that's been married going on 17 years, that's right, friends, 17 years, every marriage has rough patches. Every marriage is like a roller coaster. There are times where it's going to be up and it's going to feel amazing. There's going to be times where it's down. And I think it's important to do things like this, go to counseling, therapy. It's always beneficial to find your way back to each other and also know that you're each your own individual person, but also still connected. So I'm very excited for it. So moving on to February, there is, I don't think, not a lot. We have a new Allie Hazelwood book, Deep End, which this is only an Allie Hazelwood book I can find coming out next year, which I'm bummed about because I was really hoping to get the sequel to Bride. Maybe it'll come out later in the year. One can hope. But this is kind of her So Allie Hazelwood has like different ventures. So she first started off with STEMinist romance, where it's woman in science. Then she started writing YA books, and then she went into a book last year that was a vampire werewolf book that I loved. And she also did kind of a more erotica book, which was called Not in Love, which I still have not read yet. But this one is kind of like that. It says a competitive diver and an ace swimmer jump into the forbidden waters in this steamy college romance. So it's kind of like new adult. So basically we follow Scarlett and Lucas, and they are both trying to train to be on the Olympic swimming team, for various things. So they start an arrangement. As the pressure leading into the Olympics heats up, so does their relationship. It was supposed to be just a temporary, mutually satisfying fling, but when staying away from Lucas becomes impossible, Scarlett realizes that her heart may be treading to dangerous water. You get how that goes. We have First Time Caller by B.K. Borison. She is famous for the Love Light Farm series, which is seasonal, magical, and amazing, and I'm so bummed it's over. So this is a new book. I don't know if this is a standalone or if it's part of a new series, but it says a hopeless romantic meets a jaded radio host in this cozy, sleepless, in Seattle-inspired love story. Let me tell you right now, if any book claims to be kind of like a Nora Ephron film, like You've Got Mail, When Harry Met Sally, Sleep in Seattle, take my money. I don't care. Those are my favorite movies. Nora Ephron was the queen of romance movies. That is my opinion, and I will stand by it. But either way, it's Aiden, and it's about Lucy, and it says everyone wants Lucy to find her happy ending. Even the handsome temperament man calling the shots when sparks fly behind the scenes. Lucy must make the final call between the radio-sponsored Happily Ever After or the man in the headphones next to her. Oh, okay. I think it's going to be kind of like maybe a love triangle, maybe, in a way. I don't know. Then we have Along Came Amor by Alexis Dario. This is her, I want to say it's her third book in her, I forget what series it's called, but I've read the first two. Really enjoy it. This is about, I think it's a second chance romance. Ava, whose ex-husband declares he wants to follow his dreams, which no longer include her. She's left us questioning everything she thought. So then a handsome guy comes into her. Maybe it's not a second chance romance. Maybe it's like kind of a new romance where basically a couple gets divorced, she finds something better, maybe he comes back crawling, but she just writes steamy, really great romance novels that I'm excited for. And then we have March. We got a lot. We have a lot in this whole video. Wild Side by Elsie Silver. This is the third book in her Rose Hill series. This just says, I always dreamed of my wedding day, but not like this, not looking into the eyes of the man who betrayed me. But when my nephew's guardianship is contested, I decide I'll do whatever it takes to keep him in Rose Hill, even if it means marrying the enemy, Reese, a man who's secretly broody and completely infuriating. I swore I would never forgive him, but that was before. So it's a second chance romance. If you don't know, this whole series is about single dads. So yes, Elsie Silver writes long, I will say they're long, steamy kind of small town cowboy romances, and I'm here for that. Next up, we have Promise Me Sunshine by Cara Bastone. Everyone loved her Ready or Not book last year, including myself. It was just really sweet and adorable, and I'm hoping this one will be too. This says, grieving the loss of her best friend, a young woman's life is turned upside down when she meets a grumpy stranger who swears he can help her live again in this heartwarming, slow burn romance. And that's all. I feel like some taglines, you get the gist, you know enough, you can move on, and this is exactly that. So it sounds really cute. Learning how to love after losing somebody, you get the gist. Then I have A Witch's Guide to Magical Innkeeping by Sangu Madana. This is the sequel companion novel to The Very Secret Society of Irregular Witches, which came out a couple years ago. I think this book was supposed to come out last year, but it didn't. But either way, this is about a character named Sarah, who was one of the most powerful witches in Britain. Then she resurrected her great aunt Jasmine from the very recently dead. Then she lost all of her magic, befriended a semi-villainous talking fox, and was exiled from her magical guild. Now she helps Aunt Jasmine run an inn at Lancashire, where she deals with her quirky Then she learns about an old spellbook that could hold the secret to restoring her power. So it's witchy, cute, found family type of books. They sound cute. Then we have The Strawberry Patch Pancake House by Lori Gilmore. She is making herself a seasonal writer, and I'm okay with that. She has written like 2 kind of fallish ones, 1 Christmassy one, and now she's going into spring. I fully expect there to be a summer one, because why not capitalize on that, Jane? Are they well written? No, but they're cute and they're seasonal, and that's enough for me. So this just says it's a renowned single dad archer never planned on moving to a small town. Then we have Iris, who can't seem to hold a job down for more than a few months. And then I love how it includes the tropes. Single dad, forced proximity, slow burn, found family, one bed, also small town. Sounds cute. If you get her books, you get her books. Then we have Kills Well with Others by Deanna Brayborn coming out March 11th, which is the sequel to, oh gosh, I forgot what the book was called. It was pretty much like Golden Girls meets Assassins, and I loved it. So this one is after a year of laying low, all the women that were women assassins are called back into action. They have enjoyed their time off, but the lack of assignment is starting to chafe. And so I think they have to like go on a wild ride to be assassins again. I think they're all in their 70s. Like in the first book, they were killers of a certain age. That's what it is. They were all like talking about their creaking bones and stuff like that. And I was like, oh my gosh, so they're going to be assassins again. That should be fun. Then we have Sunrise on the Reaping by Suzanne Collins. This is Haymitch's book that we've all been waiting for forever. I did enjoy the Songbird of Songs and Snake, what if, you know, Snow story, but I am very interested in Haymitch. I guarantee probably this will go pretty well. If I get a Finnick story, I'm going to guess. Or I would like to see Joanne's story. Like, I mean, why not, man? Why not? So this is the day on the 50th annual Hunger Games. Haymitch, he's from District 12, and you get the gist. You kind of already know that he wins, but this is going to be his journey in the Hunger Games, which I am very excited about. Like, we have a new Ashley Winstead book. This book will bury me, coming out March 25th. She is a very good mystery thriller author. I have read all of her books. My favorite of hers is Still in My Dreams, I Hold a Knife. Her other books have not been the best for me, but this one says, it's the most famous crime in modern history, but only she knows the true story. And so it's about a character named Jane Sharp who loses her dad unexpectedly, and so she becomes obsessed with true crime, befriending armchair detectives. And she finds a lot of fame and stuff with that. So when news of shocking deaths of 3 college girls in Idaho takes the world by storm, Jane and her friends are determined to beat the sleuths that are trying to figure out what happened to them. But the case turns out to be stranger than anyone expected, and details don't add up. And it says, told 1 year after the astounding events that concluded the case and left the world reeling, Jane has finally decided to break her silence about what really happened. She tells the true story of the Delphine massacres, and what she has to confess will shock even the most seasonal true crime fans. I mean, she's really laying into the true crime people, and that's no shame because there's a lot of them, and I'm kind of one of them, so I get it. So it sounds hopefully amazing. Then we have April. April is my favorite month thus far for book releases because we have got some amazing authors. For some reason, the book publishers have decided to reward us for these past few years and release a new Abby Hemesen book and an Emily Henry book all in the same month, and I freaking love it. So I will probably not tell you what those books are really truly about, like other than the tagline, because I don't need to know, because there are some authors that they just will say they're going to release a book and I'll read it. They could write directions on how to make rice and I would be like 5 out of 5, riveting. Those are those authors. So let's get into them. Why not? So we have Say You'll Remember Me by Abby Hemesen, another Taylor Swift song. It says there might be such thing as the perfect guy, but we have Xavier and Samantha, and I think they have to, no amount of distance is nearly enough for them to forget that something is between them. And I don't know much about it. I don't know, and I don't need to know. So there you go. Then we have Sirens by Amelia Hart. She wrote Wayward, which I loved. This one is about sirens. It says, stories of sisters separated by hundreds of years, kind of like her Wayward was about witches, but bound together in more ways than one. So we have 2019, 1800, a breathtaking tale of female resilience. The Sirens is an extraordinary novel that captures the sheer power of sisterhood and the indefiable magic of the sea. The cover, oh my gosh, whoever made this cover, give them tons of money because it's beautiful. Then we have Enchantra by Kaylee Smith. This is the sequel to Phantasma, which I read this year. Loved it. Was not expecting to love it. It's like kind of a dark romance, but not super, super dark. So this is Ready or Not meets Throne of the Fallen and the spicy enemies to lovers fantasy romance, where an Italian getaway turns deadly after a young woman is trapped in her host family's cursed game. So it's another game with trials. This one follows the sister of the main character in the first book. That's all I know about it, and that's all I want to know. It just sounds like it's going to be a good time. and I'm excited. Then we have Wild and Wrangled by Lila Sage. This is the 4th book in her Done and Dusted series. This one follows Camille and Dusty. She definitely set it up in the last book. It's a second chance romance. Camille is reeling from being left at the altar, and Dusty has always harbored a crush for her. She is also a single mom, and it sounds cute. They're like really cute, steamy Western romances. And then we have Emily Henry's new book, Great Beautiful Life, and it just says, 2 writers compete for the chance to tell the larger-than-life story of a woman with more than a couple of plot twists in their sleeves in this dazzling and sweeping new novel. So that's all I know, and that's all I want to know. Emily Henry could write anything. I'm going to read it. And the last book I have in April is Rewind It Back by Liz Tomforty. This is Rio and Hallie's story. This is the 4th or 5th book in this series. It's sports romance. Rio, I think, is an ice hockey player, I want to say. So I'm excited to see that one. Oh, wait, no, that's not the last April book. This is Not a Game by Kelly Mullen. This is another book that cover intrigued me. It's a mystery thriller. It says 2 unlikely detectives, a killer cocktail of suspects. So basically, I think it's like And Then There Were None type of book with Agatha Christie, a locked door mystery, which sounds really interesting. So that's what I'm going to leave it at, and check it out if you want to. Going into May, we have Main Characters by Hannah Orenstein. I don't know if I've ever read a book by this author or heard of one. I don't know, but the cover intrigued me, and it says, this love letter to lake life is the Parent Trap for adults. Say less, man. I love the original Parent Trap, and I love the Lindsay Lohan one. Like, they're amazing. The story of 2 half-sisters who meet for the first time at their father's cabin in Maine after his unexpected death. So, yeah, that's all I know about it. That's all I want to know. If Parent Trap for adults, yeah, I'm going to read that thing. I have a new Catherine Center book coming out on May 20th. It's The Love Haters. It has Katie, who has been burned by love in the past, and now she has 2 choices. She can get laid off from her job as a video producer, or at her coworkers, Cole's request to take a career making profile getting Tom Hutch, a Coast Guard rescue swimmer in Key West. The catch, Katie's not exactly qualified. She can't swim, but she fakes it that she can. Oh my gosh, gracious. Plus, Cole is Hutch's brother and they don't get along. Next stop, Paradise. So there you go. She writes kind of woman's fiction with some romance in it. And it sounds cute. I have Left of Forever by Tara DeWitt coming out May 20th. This is the companion novel to Savor It, which hopefully I've read by now by filming. I really hope I. It's a small town, Spuns, Oregon type of book. It says an emotional, spicy second chance romance about Ren and Ellis who fell in love with their kids, had their son Sam, and then they kind of fell apart and now they're divorced in their 30s. Ren runs the bakery in town while Ellis works with the firefighters, and then basically they maybe decide to get together again. It sounds really, really cute and adorable. June, we have a new Frederick Bachman novel, My Friends. This one comes out June 3rd. There's no cover. All it says is that there's a new book. And that's it. I love Frederick Bachman. I've read all of his books except for the 3rd book in the Beartown series. I just haven't read it yet because I know it's going to break my heart, and so I just haven't been ready for it yet. Then, in June, we have a new Taylor Jenkins Reid book, another one of my favorite authors, another author that could write instructions to make mashed potatoes. And again, I would be 5 out of 5. Riveting, tell me more. For this one, this is an epic new novel set against the backdrop of the 1980s space shuttle program and the extraordinary lengths we go to live and love beyond our limits. That is, I mean, there's a lot of more details, but that's all I know. That's all I want to know. I don't care what she writes. I won't read it. So there you go. Then we have a new Victoria Schwab book, Bury Our Bones in the Midnight Soul, coming out June 10th. I believe this is an adult novel. I'm not 100%. It just says 1532, London 1837, Boston 2019. 3 young women, their bodies planted in the same soil, their stories tangling like roots. One of them grows high, one of them grows deep, and one of them grows wild. And all of them grow teeth. That's all there is. That's all I want to know. Ashley Poston book, Sounds Like Love, is coming out on June 17th. This is a hit-making songwriter and a bitter musician share a startling and inexplicable connection that they'll do anything to shake. And so it's about 2 musicians, I guess, and then they hear a melody in their head, and they basically, it's set in North Carolina, which is great. That's my sister's state. I live in Virginia. I don't know much about it. It's other than I think they have to write a song together or something like that. She writes romance with kind of some fantastical elements into them. I really love The 7 Year Slip. I love The Dead Romantics. Her last book last year, a novel love story I did not really like, so we'll have to see about this one. Then in July, we have The Enchanted Greenhouse by Sarah Beth Durst. This is a companion novel to The Spell Shop, which I read earlier this year. Super cute, just small town, witchy romance. So cute. It's about Turla, who broke the law because she was lonely, and basically she goes into this island that everyone's at, and she becomes a gardener, I believe, and she does dream houses. She learns that magic sustains them as failing, causing the death of everything within them. Turla knows that she must help, even if it means breaking the law again. And then we have a new fantasy romantasy book that sounds interesting to me, and that is A Fate Forged in Fire by Hazel McBride, coming out July 27th. This says to become the first queen in centuries, a powerfully blessed blacksmith must use her wits and fire magic to overthrow the corrupt powers ruling her kingdoms, while also finding her growing desire for one of her dragon-riding adversaries in the first book of a sizzling, Celtic-inspired fantasy romance duology. I really want to get into those. I have not this year, so I'm hoping to remedy that next year. I have a new Riley Sager book, No Cover, with a Vengeance. Riley Sager is a great author. I love his books. I feel like his past couple releases I haven't loved, but this one is, I think it sets in 1954, and Train or something like that. I don't know. I'll let you know more about it. And then the last book I have is another thriller coming out in August, and that is Forget Me Not by Stacey Willingham. This is 22 years ago. Claire's older sister disappeared, and I think basically she has to come back home and solve it. And now it's been many years later. She's back home trying to, figure out things and figure out what happened to her sister. You know, the classic, like, returning to the scene of the crime years later, figuring out new things, new leads that you never thought were there. Woo! Are you tired? Because I'm tired. There's all the book releases I'm excited for. As you can see, it stops in August because there's going to be more books. Fall, I would say, like, spring and fall are the really big seasons for book releases, so I know there's going to be a ton that are coming out in the fall months that I'm excited for. But either way, those are books that I am really excited for to read. If you have any that I did not mention, that I forgot, because I probably did, leave them down below. And if you're here this long, thank you for watching. I'm hoping 2025 will be an amazing read a year, and I'll see you, and hopefully we'll have some great books that we can read. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in my next video. Bye.